really
But
confident.
the one thing Pineda, we can't blame him for right now, that Pineda can't fix is the ridiculous international break rule that MLS doesn't have. We have 7 players out for the Columbus Crew game.
Yes.
That's insane.
I don't
That's not a crutch. I mean, that's a pretty difficult hurdle to overcome right now, man.
Including Hernandez, who never plays.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
right.
He's an international for Venezuela.
Yeah, you were naming people. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
We don't even have Mr. Chol. We don't have.
You know, the starting right back, Lennon, is not on international break because he's not called up, but the backup right back is.
Yeah. Ironic. So yeah, we've got Hernandez out. We've got Miles out. We've got
good for Miles for getting called back up because
definitely.
honestly, everybody knows he was going to be the starting center back in the World Cup if he was not hurt.
We've got Chol Etienne, Almada, George Giacomakis, and and Miles Almada. Yeah. So 7 players.
Almada, shockingly, Argentina still wants him.
Yeah.
Darn it.
What? That might happen more and more.
So the signals now after that goal and this performance is that if you're a European team right now and you're halfway open to scouting, maybe one of the best young talents in soccer right now, has to be on the radar, right? Like those 2 free kicks, the last 2 games in a row, those aren't luck. Those are spending a lot of extra hours probably in the training camp, visualizing and executing senseless hours of free kicks like that.
I'm always surprised that scouting is not, even like, for example, I felt like Al Marone was truly special. One of the players you'd ever seen. And I was surprised that actually, I'm like, if I were a European club, he could be a star.
But the thing is,
I was right.
Yeah.
Because
Almada is not under the radar. Almada is not under the radar. They were already interested in him before he came to Atlanta United. There was already buzz about him. I think a little of the pandemic and some of the controversy he was involved with probably held back some of the teams from making an offer.
Oh, that was Almada?
Yeah.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
Which is one of the assistant coaches on his team. Was on the run for like 6 months. So
I don't think he did much wrong in that.
Doesn't sound like it, but we weren't there. Don't know. Doesn't sound like it. Kid seems like he's got a real calm composure, professional, must be going about his business good here.
I do think there is a decent chance, despite what I just said, that with all that Atlanta United gets major offers this summer.
Yeah.
And they might want to sell him. If they get, a $30 million offer, I think they're going to accept it.
No, should not. I talked about this before. That's I'm sorry. This kid, Christian Pulisic, went for what, 70 million euros to Chelsea.
Yep.
Who's better?
From Dortmund.
Who's better in your mind right now? If you were picking your kickball team, Dave, you taking Pulisic or Almada?
I would take Almada. Even though I think I am really high on Pulisic.
I am too. I'm a Pulisic fan too. I think he was worth the 70 million.
Yeah. I think he's terrific.
So you just said it, not me. Why, if you're Atlanta United, would you take anything less than 50 million?
And there, it's like the thing, if your house is worth, $1 million, but no house in your neighborhood has ever sold for more than 500,000.
But it doesn't matter. This is where you change the game. This is where you play hardball, and this is where Lagerwey, in my mind, and we're going to find out what his metal is made of here, because in my opinion, you should put the price tag. You know how we threw that crazy 50 million mark out for Almada? Maybe didn't we do that? Like, we'll take nothing less for 40 or 50. We need to put the price tag for him then up to 70.
You know what's weird though?
I am not kidding you. I BS you not. Why wouldn't you? Isn't that what he's worth?
You know what's weird though? And this is the thing about MLS. It doesn't matter. So if you're Manchester United or if you're any European club, financial fair play, you have to bring in a certain revenue. The transfer fees make a huge difference, right? But in MLS, where you have a salary cap, right? It's all about the salaries, right? The transfer fees don't mean nothing.
No, they do impact salaries, evidently.
Really?
Someone was telling me that on the text. So, and
you should look into that for the next podcast. I don't know if that's true. But anyway, what I would say
and the transfer fees that we get, MLS gets a smaller share of the, like, let's say we get 70 million, they get like 20 million, we get 50 million. That's how it works. So now Atlanta United can reinvest in I don't know who. Unfortunately, Almada is probably the biggest star in South America.
But what
right
I'm
now,
saying
but-
is, if you've got a billionaire owner like we do, right, and he can afford to pay it, then I mean, the fact that he wants to make money, maybe, but
right.
but if he wants to pay for it, it doesn't really matter.
It's kind of true. Yeah.
And that's why the thing about Miles Robinson is less infuriating, right? Because Miles Robinson, we failed to re-sign, and he's clearly waiting out his contract. And I think you're right. It may be a combination of him waiting out his contract and the fact that
They
we
know
don't
the
have a
DP slot,
designated spot
but we
player
will.
spot to pay him.
But they know that we will when it matters.
Well, I don't think so. I think he's going for a free transfer.
Okay.
And I think, and to be honest with you, I don't think they care that much because they don't have those constraints. But
Yeah.
here's the thing. Even if, and I was talking to some people at the game and they were saying, Amada's gone in the summer, it's going to ruin our whole team. I don't think so. What I think is that Gareth Lagerwey, the Atlanta United office, MLS overall, does not want Almada leaving this summer. They are fine with him transferring this summer, but as you pointed out on last podcast, it would be a loan back through the end of the MLS season. That's not so good for him because he'd have to go without a break, but it doesn't hurt this season very much because the MLS season basically ends in the fall, and that's when they're starting up in Europe. So he's not going to miss any time in Europe. So the club would be willing to pull that deal, right? And that saves the face, if you will, for Atlanta United. If you are a club that's a selling club, fine. Nobody has a problem with that MLS. If you're selling a club in the middle of a championship run and it ruins your team, that is a really bad thing for MLS because that means that we don't care about your playoffs. We don't care about winning. We just care about making money.
I'm just thinking about this on the fly, which this all sounds good to us, right? Like we're looking at it from our perspective. But if I'm whoever and I want the Almada, who I think anybody who's got an eye for soccer says, okay, this kid's a good bet for a $50 to $70 million transfer, right? Like he's got tons of upside. He's super young. Like you don't see bangers like that from free kicks unless he's got something.
No, you don't.
So why in the world would you loan a player back to risk injury when your team needs talent now that you want to invest in and you've already
because Atlanta United plays hardball, right? And they say that, look, we're happy to give you the 70 million transfer. We have one condition only, and that is he has to be loaned back.
Or to your point, maybe actually a lower transfer fee.
Yeah, maybe
a lower transfer fee, but the loan.
Yes.
So that might be their leverage, right? Like we know he's worth 70 million, but we'll
take 60.
Take 60, or we know he's worth 55, we'll take 45, whatever it might be. But I don't think like on the market value, we should sway from what that kid's worth. Now, if that means that we get a loan and win another MLS championship, okay, maybe I'm okay with that.
I think if Atlanta
United
or any MLS club that's in a title kind of contention is a major playoff team sells their superstar before the playoffs, it ruins the league. Because it says that the league is not worth nothing. We don't care about it. And so if I'm MLS, they don't have obviously absolute control over this, but if you're Atlanta United and you want to maintain your fan base, you cannot sell Almada before the end of the season. You can sell him. We can be a selling club. We can have great players move on. I don't think their fan base is going to hold that against you. They will hold it against you if going into the playoff Almada leaves.
Ruins the way
it
we're
ruins
playing.
Everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting. All points agreed on.